So my name's Katie. I like to be known as Kate. I'm 36 years old and I live in Bishop Stortford, which is in Hertfordshire. And I was diagnosed in February 2022. So yeah, coming up to 2 years now. So my official diagnosis was idiopathic pulmonary arterial hypertension. Bit of a mouthful. Yeah, so it started, I think, back in late 2019. I was working. I used to work for SA Lauder as a accounts manager, so there was a lot of standing up, moving around, retail. It was always quite busy. Um, and I used to have to climb 3 flights of stairs to get up to the staff room and go to the toilet, and I think I started noticing it when I was going upstairs for breaks and for lunchtime, and I used to have to stop halfway. And I remember that a lot of the ladies that were, working with me, I would pass they would, pass by me, and I'd be so knackered, I'd have to sit down, and it got so embarrassing because I did used to have to sit down on the stairs, and wait, and I used to think, "God, it must be because I've gained weight or, I'm not very fit." But yeah, and it's just started getting really bad at work, and it got to the point where that's when my mental health was really declining because I just thought like, why can't I breathe properly? What is happening to my body? I went to the doctors and that was when he did an ECG and he see my heart rate was very high. And this was just sitting down. And that was when he said, "Oh, this doesn't look right. You need to probably go to A&E as quick as you can." So I started sort of panicking then, and then when I went there, they did every test under the sun, and they was like, "Oh, we're not really sure what this is and stuff." But they said, "Oh, we're going to refer you to the the cardiology department." So, I went home and I got referral through to Harlow again, my local hospital. And I went back and forth a couple of times, in the winter 2021. And that's when they said, "Look, we're going to have to, we think this might be a heart problem, so we're going to refer you to Cambridge in Papworth." So, and then it came round to this point. I just felt awful, especially after Christmas 2021. I was in bed every day. I was struggling to get my daughter to school. I used to drop her to school, come back, just lay in bed all day. My mental health had declined at this point so badly. Um, I couldn't even get up and down the stairs without stopping, probably 3 times at that point. It got to the point where it sounds really dramatic, but I actually felt like I was dying. It was really that bad. Like I could feel there was something in me that was like, "You haven't got long." It was, I laugh about it now, but it was awful, and I was so depressed. And that's when, luckily, I went to Papworth, and that's when they did some tests, and they did a right heart catheterization, and straight away, on the table, they just said, "Yeah, your pressures are really high." They were like 65 or something, and they should have only been about 24 at my age. Very. So straight away, it was all quite a bit of a rush. Went back upstairs, and they said, "You've got a massive bubble of fluid around your heart." And that was when I was just like, it's instant panic, and they said, "You have gone into the first sort of stage of heart failure." And me and my partner were just, I couldn't stop crying. It was just awful, like I just couldn't. I know I keep saying like, why me? But I just couldn't believe it. I've never smoked in my life. I've always been quite sort of into fitness a little bit, like, and I just, at this point, I just couldn't believe it. I was expecting the worst. It's been 18 months now, and I'm still slowly coming to terms with it. I'm getting there. So yeah. I went to the doctors probably about 2 or 3 times between 2019, and 2020, like late 2021, because of the COVID. I think the COVID didn't help as well, because I think it was hard to I don't think you could get an appointment as well when the doctors. Um, so, the first time it was like it could be anxiety, so they were trying to do the, cognitive therapy, thing to help with anxiety, with my breathing. Also, that was at that one point, that's when they said, "Oh, maybe you need to start, with the depression, maybe going on to antidepressants like citalopram." That's like an anti-anxiety sort of medicine. And then I went back again, and they said it could be asthma, so they even tried to give me like a big asthma pump to help. And I monitored that, but it actually got worse with that asthma medicine. I was coughing even more. than I usually do anyway. Yeah, I think as well as, worrying about what it could be, just couldn't believe how it was affecting my life. It's affecting my relationship, it was affecting me being a mum, it was just affecting my friendships, it was just becoming I was, finding myself avoiding every situation I could do or be in, and I was avoiding housework and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was just always becoming increasingly hard, and it was a worry. And like I said, when I say like I felt like I was dying, there were times when I used to sit on the bed and think like I actually feel like I'm suffocating to death. That is, to put it into words, really, that is how it felt. I think it started with telling my parents and my family, and I'm so, so lucky and grateful to have such an amazing family. They've been great, and it was such a worry, and I think, to this day now they worry, they check on me all the time. But it's hard, it was even harder for them to understand, especially my parents, and I think they probably thought, "Oh, what have we done wrong?" And stuff, they always try and blame it, and it's yeah, and I told my friends, and it's they've all been so understanding. I'm so lucky to have such a nice group of friends, an amazing family, and I'm very grateful because they all helped me. But it is really tough, and I think there's still times now when I have to cancel plans. And my family have been amazing with sort of like anything we do now. If we do go on little trips, I don't do a lot at all really. I'll be honest, I'm at home a lot still. But if we go on trips and stuff, I always now have to make sure I've got a mobility aid. So either it be a scooter, and stuff like that. So life's really had to change when it comes to, adapting to what I've got basically. But I've been very lucky with, my family and telling them and that. It's been sad, but I'm very lucky. I mean, if you look at me now, I mean, I can talk forever. Well, I have to breathe in between. Um, I can talk, I look absolutely fine, and this is the thing with invisible disabilities. It's just it's a daily task, just looking fine, but inside you're not. But I haven't had any. I've been very lucky. I haven't had any grief really. I do get the odd look. I have to admit, I do get the odd like glance over. She doesn't look that ill. She's very young. What's she doing with a badge? But luckily, I've not had to explain anything yet. Could probably find myself being quite defensive, really, because it's still such a taboo, the invisible disability, massively, and it really needs to. People need to realise that as well. So I've got two children. I've got two children. They are 13 and 18. Yeah, I do feel like my role has changed massively through my illness of my children. Um, I'm not. Um, I'm not able to do the things I used to do. I'm very lucky actually because I had my children when I was very young. I was 18 and 22 when I had my children. So, you know, luckily enough, I haven't got toddlers, I'm not planning on having any other children. So I don't need to run around with them as much as somebody would do if they were very small. And I think I'm so grateful for that because it was so hard being a teenager and being a mum and raising them, let alone with this disease and having to run around after them because I would never be able to do that now. But it has changed very much so. They're very supportive. And my daughter especially, she helps me all the time. I've tried to make her a bit more independent and stuff. But yeah, it has changed massively. Not only just physically, but mentally. It's hard not to think about things like when they're older. Although I'm a young mum, and I will be, very close in age to them. I can't help but think about when they're older and they have children. I I won't be able to run around after my grandchildren. I won't be able to do the things sort of, and God forbid, I'm still here. It's just a scary, and that's another thing with the mental health. I think about that all the time. So, I mean, when I went off sick from my job, it was so sad because it was an amazing job. But when I went off sick, I was, it was part mentally and physically. But I was helped by my local mental health team quite a lot. And going back to now, the PH nurses at Cambridge they're brilliant. I couldn't wish for a better team at Papworth. They're just amazing. Unbelievable, yeah. The nurses and the palliative care team. The palliative word sounds a bit scary, but they're brilliant, and I think I'll ring up from time to time and I think they know it's me. So, I mean, the first thing I would say is, the internet is not your best friend with this. The internet will, don't Google it, don't overthink it too much. Um, you need to have so much trust in your team because they are going to help you through everything. And I think one of the biggest scary things is because it's so rare, and that's the scary thing. But when you're in this community, this PH community that I've become friends with, a lot of people in the PH community through the Facebook group, you if I'd known them now, like if I had known them back then, a couple of years ago, the amount of questions and stuff, they've been amazing. So I just feel like you need to just take every day as it comes, and appreciate life as well massively. But yeah, there is so much advice and support out there, and it does seem really scary and daunting. But yeah, you just need to have a lot of trust and hope in your team. Yeah. I'd say the only positive, it's made me appreciate life a lot more. I know if that sounds a bit, it's made me sort of not care about the little things, and not worry as much as I used to about the stupid things. It's made me sort of like appreciate life all the time. Sorry. It's just made me sort of like appreciate my family and just appreciate life because you've only got one life, and yeah, you need to live it.